Hey everybody, and welcome to the Album of the Week, where I tell you what I'm listening to for the week. Not all week, part of the week, maybe all the week, you don't know, probably don't care. Anyways, this week's album, drumroll please, a lot of you might know, actually probably most of you don't know, but there's a small group of you that might, and the album is Vengeance Rising, Once Dead, was released 1990, so we're still going way back. One of these days I'll do a recent album, but I'm liking some of the old stuff right now. So anyways, and once again, this is not an album review, this is just my memory of purchasing this album and what I thought about it. So, first of all, the cover, because I always want to talk about the cover. You gotta love this cover, okay? I mean, it's definitely dated, but this album cover still rocks. I mean, you have zombies, you have them coming back from the dead, hence Once Dead. How could you not argue with that being an awesome cover? So Vengeance Rising, Once Dead. That's probably my favorite album from them. This might be a hot take for those of you that like Vengeance Rising. Well, the hot take isn't, well, anyway, that's my favorite album by them. The hot take is what I like after that. And their self-titled Human Sacrifice is probably at the bottom of my list. My order would be Once Dead, Destruction Comes, Released Upon the Earth, and then Human Sacrifice. I know a lot of you out there that like Vengeance put Human Sacrifice at the top. It's my least favorite. Can't tell you why. Production's better than the last two, but still, it's at the bottom for me. So, I remember buying this when it came out in 1990 at the Family Christian Store, because this is a Christian album, folks. And back in the day, I was listening to some Christian music. I had my selection of Christian hair metal that I liked. Some of it I could share with my friends and be like, this is cool. Some of it I just kept to myself. I still think of some of that as a guilty pleasure, but I didn't have a whole lot of Christian hair metal bands that I could lovingly share with my group, and they'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And, a lot of us were getting more into extreme stuff. I mean, extreme in quotes, but we wanted some harder music, and there really wasn't anything in the Christian market that I had heard that really, I felt like competed or you could share with your friends that weren't Christians. Let me emphasize that. So, when that album came out, I saw the cover and I'm like, I had heard about Vengeance Rising with Human Sacrifice, but I hadn't purchased that album. But I saw this cover and I'm like, I need this album. I need to hear what this sounds like. And back in the day in the Christian bookstores, you bought albums and they had stickers on the back where you'd buy 4, get 1 free. And I'm like, I've got 4 stickers here. Actually, no, I only had 3 stickers. So I had to buy a 4th, and I was going to use the free one for Vengeance Rising. And I bought Ex-Sinner's album. Not self-titled, I think it's called. Anyway, the Ex-Sinner's first album, sorry, I don't remember the title of it, but Ex-Sinner's first album and that one. And Ex-Sinner, I kind of had an idea what it was going to sound like, and I played it first when I got home, and it basically, the kind of AC/DC, just regular rock and roll kind of sound, which was that was kind of very commercial sounding. I was like, cool, yeah, that's good. But man, I put Once Dead in, and I was like, oh, this is what I've wanted to hear in the Christian music scene for a while. Great thrash for its time. And for me, I thought Vengeance was really original in the way they incorporated specifically on this album. This album specifically, because after that, they lost this part of it because of the members leaving the band. But they had a thrash sound with a heavy blues influence. And I know some people might not have liked that. I love that because it had a different feel to it that a lot of the other thrash bands that were doing stuff, they didn't have that. So it had a bluesy thrash mix, which was great at the time. So it was unique sounding. I know Roger's voice, his screaming voice, either love it or hate it. I still loved it. And the main thing was I could share this with my friends who weren't Christians or didn't basically label Christian music as bad. I could actually play this and they'd be like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Or, but even if they didn't like it per se, they still respected it because it was actually bringing some musicianship and some originality in the thrash scene, at least in my opinion. So Vengeance Rising, Once Dead is my album of the week. And for the record too, when I got it, well, my some of my relatives didn't like it. So finally some Christian music that my relatives didn't like. Awesome, because you got to frill some feathers sometimes when you're listening to music. And so that's my album. I'm being listening to this week. Also listening to it because Roger Martinez, the lead singer for Vengeance, passed away a few weeks ago from cancer. And I'm not going to go into it if you're not familiar with it, but Roger has one of the most unique stories in Christian music. So if you're bored, look that up and check out his history. It actually should be a short film, in my opinion. So, Vengeance Rising, once again, One's Dead. Let's do it. Great album cover, great album. And one more thing, there's also a really awesome cover of Space Truckin' by Deep Purple on there. That once again, I know some people don't like it. I love it. Sorry. I love the whole album. It's great. What's your album of the week? Because we're done talking about this. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you sometime soon.